name is David Christie. I'm the President and CEO of Orford Mining Corp. We are a gold and critical minerals explorer in Quebec. We have 2 gold projects on underexplored projects in Quebec. We have a very large nickel project, which Woulfe Metals is earning into with 51%. And we have a new project of lithium properties covering 455 square kilometers of the best lake bottom sediment anomalies in Quebec.
David, good to meet you. Good to meet you in person. I know we haven't met in person, but good to see you. Good to see you as well. I mean, lithium. I'm going to start with lithium. Everyone's excited about lithium. We've seen some amazing Canadian lithium stories on stage at the event that we're at here up in Quebec City. And that seems to be what's getting the interest. It seems to me, and I may be reading this wrong, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's moved your share price somewhat because the timing, you can't miss it. So people are excited about lithium. How much attention are you going to be putting on your lithium asset?
Well, it's going to be part of our summer program. So, you got to look at the Nunavik region as sort of 3 commodities for us. We have our lithium projects, we have a gold project, Kikavik there, and then we have our West Raglan project, which we operate for Woulfe Metals. So it's all happening at the same time. It's basically one big project with 3 commodities. So we will be operating the lithium projects. We are going to be up there doing prospecting, sampling, mapping, and if we see a pegmatite that is worthwhile and warrants drilling, we will drill it this summer.
Okay.
So it's going to be a big summer up there.
Because it kind of feels to me like your timing is imperative at the moment. I was with a company which has gone from $3 to $17 in the space of 12 months. Right? You know who I'm talking about. And I'm speaking to another lithium company tomorrow, which is, gone up to $700 million in the space of like less than a year. People are excited about lithium here in Canada and what it can mean in terms of critical minerals. So is there a bit of you that wants to kind of rush that? You're talking about, you started to explain a systematic approach to, working at what you've got there. Is there a bit of you that just wants to rush up there, dig a few holes, see what you've got, test the lithium a bit quicker?
Well, I think, what we staked, like we own 100%, there's no royalties, we're not dealing with anyone else. Yeah. We staked 455 square kilometers of land. We already have known pegmatites on the land, so pegmatite being the source rock for lithium and hard rock lithium deposits. Quebec government mapped those in the 1980s. We have lithium grab samples from that 1980s mapping that the Quebec government did, and we have the highest lake bottom sediment anomalies. So we think we have some pretty damn good lithium
sounds
properties. So we're really excited about them. And you know what, when you compare gold exploration to lithium exploration actually is easier.
Right.
So it's pretty systematic. It's, you go out there, you map, you sample, we're going to use handheld assayers in the field. So we get a really good idea of what we're looking at very quickly. And we're going to have a RAB drill at Kikavik. And so if we see something we want to drill, we can pop that drill over there. We don't need an extra drilling permit in Quebec, that part of Quebec. So we just pop the drill over and stick a hole in it. Right,
but I'm going to labor this point because I've seen a few things happen out there on stage, and obviously had to do my homework to have those conversations. But it's like companies have said, right, we need a slightly new strategy to adapt to the marketplace because the kind of equity side of things, we've been saying it for a while, it's kind of disconnect between that and what companies are doing, except when it comes to lithium, where they've been able to kind of bang out some nice headlines about lithium, drive the share price, raise capital at therefore cheaper prices, cheaper money, to be able to then kind of release some of the other stuff that they're doing within their portfolio of companies, which is a similar scenario to you. You have lots of options. I know Wyloo is funding that particular project. You're operating it, they're funding it. But even for the gold, you could do a bit more money. Everyone can. Yeah. So what are the thoughts around that?
Well, there's definitely a lot of interest especially from the retail side in the lithium space. We've traded, I think, like 90 million shares this year, right? So, which is unreal. And it's all since the February 6th release that we've staked lithium ground. So there's definitely interest in lithium. And I think if we hit a pegmatite that's got size potential and grade, I think, maybe one of those stories you talked about could happen to us.
So you're not writing it off. It's not a case that I'm a purist, I'm a geologist, I will do things in a systematic way. You understand there's a need to get that balance between doing the right thing in the field and also feeding the market.
Yeah, no, we know we need to get some answers on the lithium project, what we have, and we're going to do that. So that's key. We want to move them forward, so we will do that as much as we can. We're working in the Arctic portion of Quebec. It's a short summer, so we will work as hard as we can with the money we have over that period of time.
Right, okay, you'll let us know. Gold. That's, I guess, used to be the darling. It used to hold the crown. Not so much anymore, but
No.
you've got to get after that project too.
Yeah, so we have two really good gold projects. First of all, the Geological project we just finished drilling this past winter. It's in the Abitibi, close to infrastructure, roads, hydro, everything. And we're sitting right next door to the Agnico Eagle Maple Gold JV, so we have that. But we've been drilling the South Gold Zone there. We think we've discovered a mineralized body that we can get to a resource on by this time next year. So we'll go back in there this coming winter and drill that off to delineate a resource. So that one, it's going towards resource, and that's nice and neat and tidy, and so we're excited about that. On the Kegavik project, it's another summer of testing targets, and so we're bringing in a RAB drill so we can test more targets quicker. We've reinterpreted all our glacial geology there by the best glacial mine in the country, and he believes we need to drill very close to where we have our surface boulders of very high grade, up to 648 grams per ton. So we will drill a lot of holes very close to where those boulders are found. And at the intersection of northwest trending structures and northeast trending structures, we did a structural interpretation and found that that's the best place to probably drill. So we're going to do some IP on the ground, we're going to drill those targets, and we think we're going to hit some pretty good numbers there. So.
Okay, and so how does that work in terms of when you're identifying obviously these ridiculously high grades in these boulders? What's the geological kind of formation which kind of causes one of the boulders to be at surface, and for you to suspect that there's gold immediately under that?
Well, so the whole area is like broken sidewalks, all frost heaved.
Right.
So everywhere you go, there's not really a lot of rock in place. So that's one thing to keep in mind. So. The glacial interpretation here is that the ice center from the last glaciation is very close to us, just to the south, and it was moving south to north. And because we're so close to the ice center, the glacial expert does not believe that anything has moved very far.
Right.
So that's why we're going to drill very close to those structures and those samples. So we'll drill offensive holes across those little areas and see if we can hit what we believe is there. We have found gold in diamond drill holes before when we tried to drill at the head of those long boulder trains that we thought were boulder trains, but not in the quantity or grade that we see in some of those boulders. So, and they don't look the same either. It's not the same type of gold mineralization. So we believe that this is the methodology that's going to work here.
Okay.
And it's a very large property.
Yeah,
it's 400 square kilometers. There's a lot of land to cover. So we have a lot of targets.
I guess coming back to the kind of strategy question here, it's like when you've got a massive land package like that, and obviously you've done a deal with Wyloo over here, right? There's a funding in place, there's an earning in place, there's a capital allocation agreement there, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But even a Quebec where it's such a big package, are you tempted to maybe engage the kind of the strategic partner model on more of these?
Maybe. I want to know what it's worth first.
Right.
And so I think, this program this summer will give us a good idea what it's worth, and then we can move forward from there if we want to do that.
Right, and so in terms of then capital available to you now to do that, to get to the point where you can work out what a possible value could be and what therefore your negotiation could look like, how much do you spend on that to let you kind of give you that freedom?
Yeah, so between the Lithium project and the Kegavik Gold project this summer, we're going to spend a little over $3 million, maybe up towards $4 million.
Yeah.
Most of that will be on the gold project because that's where most of the drilling is.
Yeah.
But we can move that money around a bit, right? So
Okay.
if we see that there's more potential on the Lithium project, we're finding more pegmatites that look amazing at surface, we will move some drill holes there.
Okay, so again,
you got to look at it as one big package.
Absolutely. Okay.
So
right.
Look at it as one property with 3 different minerals going on.
Right.
We've taken the nickel portion, given that to Wyloo to look at, but then the gold and the lithium potential on the properties is ours, and we can move our money around to the projects that make
that
most
is
sense.
music to my ears, because I think sometimes people get so stuck in a rut. We've made this decision, we're going to stick to that decision, and that's the flexibility around that, because you've got to react to the market as well. And I think if lithium's giving you more now, focus on that. You don't want to be accused of bouncing around, but you've also got to work out that you've got to drive that share price. You've got to raise capital.
You want to attack the best potential.
Absolutely. For me, I don't even look at it as minerals or metals or whatever. I'm looking at it as cash centers and going, what's going to generate me the most freedom for that cash. Brilliant. Let's talk about Wyloo and the agreement. Just remind me the terms of that earn-in, please.
Yeah, so Wyloo in January 21st of 2021, they signed an agreement with them. They can earn up to 80% of the project by spending $25 million and completing a bankable feasibility study and making a cash payment to Orford. They've just reached the 51% mark. They've made the option to go to 70. There's like staged options, right? So they have 3 years to get to 70. So this year,
Spending how much in that time?
I think it's, I'm going to speak out of turn here, but I think it's $6 million to get to 70, another 6.
Okay.
So, you know, it's a couple of years programs. So they are this summer not doing a ton, but they are doing airborne surveys, doing geological interpretation, geophysical interpretation, and building targets for a drill program in 2024. That's
Okay.
sort of the plan.
So they maintain their interest. They maintain their interest, not financial. Well, yes, financial, but they're interested in moving the thing forward. So they're
Yes.
seeing enough to keep them at the table.
Yeah, and
That's good news.
They know the potential, right? The Raglan potential here. So, you know, the Raglan nickel mine that Glencore operates is probably the lowest cash cost producer in the world, and that's the prize. And it's 80 kilometers to the east of us. We're looking for a duplicate of that.
Right. Okay. Conference. You've been chatting to people. What's kind of feedback? What are the kind of questions they're asking you?
So a lot of questions on the lithium, obviously,
Yeah.
and on our gold projects. They think we have some pretty good projects. We're not a one property wonder. We have many things in the hopper here. So I think people are excited about that. They like the potential of the variety we have. Yeah.
Okay. And I think we're missing it, but there's a government minister on stage now talking about the importance of mining in Canada. Hearing a lot of that.
Yeah, well, it's specifically in Quebec he's speaking about, and I think, you know, Quebec is probably the most supportive jurisdiction in the country.
Yeah.
They have a lot of different ways they support mining here, and it's incredible.
I was just come off stage from someone else who said the entire Ontario government is equally supportive. So I think Canada, pro-mining, despite some of the headlines we see about First Nation issues and ESG and so forth, but it generally seems to be pro-mining and helping where it can.
Yeah, I think it is, and I think, you know, and I think the country's definitely supportive of critical minerals, and they want to see us, you know, build our own inventory of minerals in this country, so that, you know, we don't have the problems like Europe has had with natural gas and the whole Russian-Ukraine crisis, right? So I think that actually has kicked a lot of people in the butt to sort of push forward and find minerals and be more have more sovereignty over their own mineral supply.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, get up with the rest of the conference. It's real eye opener for me in terms of the positivity around kind of critical minerals, the money that's been made available for critical mineral projects. Long overdue, but I'm excited.
Yeah, me too.